Hi, I'm Denise from Foursquare Microfarm. A lot of times when I tell people I'm a spinner, they tend to think of that cardio workout thing on the bike, and they don't really have a good concept of what a spinner actually is. So I try to explain to them that I'm a yarn spinner. And still, there's not a lot, people don't really understand what that means to be a yarn spinner because, there's not a lot of education as far as spinning yarn, and not a lot of education on how people in previous times, got what they needed. Occasionally, around Thanksgiving, teachers will teach something about the Pilgrims, and if you're fortunate, you may get a little history about that, or maybe sometimes, in Ohio especially, you'll go through Ohio history with the Erie Canal and bringing goods back and forth and all that kind of stuff, but there's never really a lot of in-depth teaching in the curriculum. As a third grade teacher for many years, it wasn't really something that was part of the curriculum, because history has always been one of my passions. I always did a little something extra with my students, and I started with historical clothing. I've always loved historical movies and historical clothing. A big fan of Little House on the Prairie when I was growing up. And so with my students, I started making American Girl doll clothing and watching the cartoons, Liberty's Kids, with them, so they can get a sense for, how people dressed, what they ate, and how they, pretty much their everyday lives in the earlier centuries. And so with that in mind, and my fascination with historical clothing, I wanted to really get into the process of things, which led me to the homesteading. I've been gardening since I was 8 years old. And the whole gardening, self-sufficiency, the urban homesteading movement, all kind of brought all of that together into this craft. So, I have German Shepherd dogs, which a lot of you know, and I raised them for show and performance. And I started sheep herding with my oldest dog, Chopper. Not too long after I got him, I went for a birthday gift for my first sheep herding lesson. And I started going seriously. And I was curious what the herding instructor did with the wool from her Cheviot sheep. And so, she hadn't really had much use for it, and she had given it away here and there at a time, but she had a lot of it upstairs in the loft, and I said, well, I must be able to make something with this stuff. So I looked up making spinning yarn, and I tried to make a drop spindle out of a CD, and I didn't go too well. So I ordered a drop spindle off of I ordered a drop spindle off of eBay. And so I came, and that didn't go so well either. It just really was not a good experience for me. I did not enjoy the drop spindle. And so for about a year or so, I didn't spin. I didn't do any of that. And then I decided I really wanted to get back into it. So I bought a kick spindle. Let me get that for you. I got this kick spindle off of Etsy. And basically, what it is, it's a drop spindle on a ball joint, and you just kick it and it spins. It is a lot easier than the drop spindle because I don't have to worry about gravity holding against me, but it's a lot of kicking for this one to get a good revolution. And so I was not really happy with that either, and I decided just to go ahead and buy a spinning wheel sight unseen, and they're a little pricey. I saved up and got my first spinning wheel, my Louette, which is a spinning wheel I still currently have. Okay, so people ask me, well, is learning to spin expensive? Is it an expensive hobby? And it can be an expensive hobby. Learning to spin or weave or all that kind of stuff can be an expensive hobby. But basically, you can start with the drop spindle. And drop spindles range in prices. I think I got mine for like $10, $15 with a little bit of roving with it. Or you could make one at home. Okay, so pretty much all a drop spindle is a stick with a weight. And there are supported spindles that don't have the same kind of, weighted construction on them, but that's a little different. So anyway, you just need a stick and a weight. You could stick it through an apple, you could stick a pencil through a potato. They do the CDs where you stack the CDs together and you weight them with washers. And so this one right here is just a toy wheel with a dowel rod, basically, and I painted the toy wheel just for fun. And I pointed the edge, which is not really necessary. And I tend to like bottom weighted drop spindles. I tried the top whirl ones. It's a matter of preference. And so that's the basic spindle. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 of these in a pack for like $2. And you can get a dowel rod that'll go inside of it. I think this one was 3/8. It might have been. And you get the dowel rod that goes inside of it. And I like mine with the hooks on them. I've tried the one without the hooks, but I prefer the hook for mine. And this is the spindle I used to spin all of the Angora yarns that were in the Spin-Off 2016 Fall Edition. All my Angora yarns. It weighs about 1.3 ounces. And for Angora, specifically for Angora, you want a light spindle, and a lot of people like their spindles under an ounce, but actually this one was just fine for me. And I find that if my spindle was too light, I have to twist it, I have to flick it more often than what I like. So anyway, basically it's a drop spindle and it's a weight, and you're just adding twist to the fiber. And that's really a basic way to start. Really easy way to start. Doesn't cost you a lot of money, $5. A little fiber. A lot of people report that they play with cotton balls. If you have a dog or a cat or a bunny, an Angora rabbit, you can start with that fiber. You can get some fiber from some friends, from Facebook groups. You can get some fiber from Etsy, or if you live in a farming community, from a local farm. Just anything to really get the feel what the drop spindle is about. And everyone always asks, as a new person, what is the fiber I should start with? And there are some fibers that are a little easier to spin. The wools, especially the medium wools, because they have a lot of scales on the wool, and they grip really well. So you're not going to have to worry about a slick fiber. But there are people who have started, they've had Angora rabbits, so they started spinning with Angora. There are people who've started spinning with the fine wools. So just whatever you can find, give it a try. And if you find that you're having a problem, then you can trade around wools and trade top whirl and bottom whirl for different things to see if that changes the ease of your spinning. That's it for now. I'm just hoping to get more people interested in the art of spinning and the art of weaving, and especially when it comes to raising Angora rabbits and the use of the fiber from the rabbits, and passing on my love for these traditional crafts whenever I can, to whoever I can. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good day.